to the Clee Effect show. We are very excited today. We have some very special guests on the show all the way across the ocean. Over there in England, we have the Dog Pound East and 2 Feet Inbounds, who are big time NFL. They have all sorts of knowledge. They're on Twitter. Have been following them for a while now. And just excited to have them on the show. We have so many things to talk about. The Browns and the Chiefs have a huge game coming up to start the season on Sunday afternoon. And I'll be there. Very excited. We were just talking off air that I'll be heading out there Saturday morning up to Kansas City. And the weather forecast in Kansas is very hot. I used to live in Kansas. And so get to go back to that hot, dry heat to watch the Browns. Hopefully, I'm very excited that they're going to pull this thing off and beat the Chiefs in week 1. But hello, guys. Welcome to the show, Dog Pound East, 2 Feet Inbounds. I'd like to introduce them. If you'd like to start first, Dog Pound East, and introduce yourself.
Thank you, John. Thank you for inviting me onto the show. It's been a pleasure to be on the show. So I've been following you on Twitter for a long while as well. So enjoy all your motivational tweets and your writings for Dog Pound Daily. So it's been great. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, it's been great. Good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're just excited to have you here. We're big Browns fans. We're just pumped. Like this is like Christmas, man. We're just gearing up.
We'll be waiting for 20 years plus.
That's right. A long time.
This is it. Last season was the first big one.
We're going all the way.
Yeah, and it's Super Bowl, Super Browns all the way.
Yeah. All right. Hey, and welcome 2 Feet Inbounds. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, I'm not too bad. Thank you very much for inviting me on. It is very, very much appreciated. I haven't done many shows where I've had to be a neutral before to come on to an opposing team, but it's always good. And I was at a soft spot for Cleveland last year because obviously they finally broke through the playoff drought. The 25 years of futility has all just now been washed away now.
Yes.
And also beating the Steelers in the wild card, that was just the sweet nectar that you needed. It was just a shame you couldn't go any further. But this Browns team is going to be very, very dangerous this season.
Yes.
Oh,
that you there for a second, having a little internet connection. We talked about this off air. Hopefully the internet stays alive here. Can you guys all hear me okay out there?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, very good. Well, we're gonna which is nice to have you on the show. I had an opportunity to watch your show, 2 Feet Inbounds. You've had your show. You had Dog Pound East on and enjoyed that. That was a couple weeks ago. You have a YouTube channel, don't you?
Yes, we have a YouTube channel. Obviously it's called 2 Feet Inbounds, the same as my name is. Yeah, we got through the Battle of the Divisions. I think there was like 3 teams we actually missed because they couldn't make it or no one bothered to reply to your tweets, which is the most annoying thing going, especially when it's a Panthers fan and a Houston fan. If you're Houston, I'm not surprised.
Right.
I'm not surprised. No one wants to talk about that team anymore. But no, we got through it. We had a preseason review last week, and yesterday we got our predictions for week 1 and our preview of the Bucks Cowboys game, which was quite short, to be honest.
Yes. Now, how many hours do we have? I know, Carl, you were following that. How long do we have till they kick off tonight? What are we down to as far as the kickoff for tonight?
It's around 4 hours and 10 minutes to be precise.
So for right now, you guys we're talking to you. It's a little bit after 9 o'clock there. Is that right?
It is. It's coming up to 10 past 9.
Okay, very good. Well, we'll try to make this quick. It's good to have you here on the Clee Effect. This is my new platform. Very excited. We're at the intersection of sports and life for us hardy Cleveland faithful. So we're getting this started, and I'm glad to have you guys on as guests. So we're going to talk a lot today about the Browns and the Chiefs and what to expect on Sunday. Go ahead and start with you, Dog Pound East, as far as some of the headlines that you're, kind of predicting for Sunday.
I think the Browns match up very well against the Kansas City Chiefs, to be honest. And the reason I think that is because, when you look at how the Buccaneers beat the Chiefs last year, they largely did so through keeping a very strong front four, and which meant that their 7 behind the front four could really focus on, the speedy players which the Chiefs have, and keeping Mahomes, busy and worried about, who's coming to get him. So lots of blitzes, lots of fast secondary, and the Browns really are a team that have been built around the same principles. So I think that bodes well for the Browns on Sunday.
Well, Ivan, I read your article earlier today too, that you have is that like a blog that you post?
Yeah, I haven't quite branched out into a full website.
No, that's cool.
Podcast yet, but you never know. It could be coming. I'm just not very technical. So, website, dogpoundeast.webnode.com.
I like the your focus on those. You talked more in depth about those 3 players that the Chiefs really surround themselves. I mean, that they really focus on.
See, the thing for me is with the Chiefs are an outstanding team. There's no doubt about it. But why are they an outstanding team? They're an outstanding team because they've got one of the best quarterbacks, in the game, that's going to be in the game for a long while, Patrick Mahomes. He can make a difference. And with them, you've got Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. Those 3 players make a difference to the Chiefs. But if you neutralize those 3 players, the Chiefs are a very beatable team. And that's what the Buccaneers did. And what I did in my article is that I looked at ways in which the Browns match up well against the Chiefs, and can neutralize those 3 players, and then put forward the strengths of their own team, because the Browns are, without a doubt, a very strong team, which I think are possibly being overlooked by a number of pundits. But on paper, the Browns have a very good squad of players, very good roster, and can match up very well. So to me, when you look at the matchups, the Chiefs' offensive line is brand new. You've got Orlando Brown as the left tackle. He was the right tackle at the Ravens last year.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard experts tell me, for instance, that changing from a right tackle to a left tackle is like changing from your right hand to a left hand. Yeah. It's difficult, and you're not going to get it straight off in an off season. You've got effectively 3 rookies as a center, as a left, as a right guard, and a right tackle for the Chiefs. No one is going to tell me that. And you got Thuney from the Patriots, who Cole will know about. He's a good player. There's no doubt about it. He's a good player. But my point is, you've got 5 players who are brand new offensive line for the Chiefs. They had to do something about it because the offensive line was weak. But they're 5 new players. If the Browns are going to ever play the Chiefs with an advantage on the offensive line versus a very strong defensive line for the Browns, then game 1 in a regular season is the time to play them.
Yes.
Because you look at the Browns' defensive line, you've got Garrett, who's got a 4.4 40-yard dash speed.
Yes.
You've got Jadeveon Clowney probably going to be starting on the opposite side, and you've got people like Malik
McDowell,
who had a phenomenal last game against the Falcons.
It just pushing them around. Oh yeah, it was great.
I mean, and so you've got, and Jordan Elliott could be starting, for instance, in that.
Yeah.
Again, he had a very dominant game. So that defensive line is likely against the brand new Chiefs offensive line to do a lot of damage. And as I say, what the Buccaneers did was were able to keep the Chiefs pinned with just those 4 players, which means the Browns have got, if they can do that, they've got lots of good players to blitz. They've got a fast secondary, to cover people like Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Both the Browns cornerbacks, Greg Newsome and Denzel Ward, are both 4.4 40-yard dash speeds.
A lot of speed added, yep.
4.3 40-yard dash speeds. And Tyreek Hill's 4.29. So they can keep up with him. So it bodes well. It does bode well.
Carl, what are anything else that stands out to you as like a headline going into the game? I mean, we've kind of hit on a few real major points. I think that, like you said, Ivan, that offensive defensive line situation, especially with Kansas City being young, is going to play some sort of factor. Carl, anything else that you want to touch on there as far as a headline for this game?
This is probably the most anticipated game of week one. No question of shadow of doubt. I mean, how the hell did the Rams and the Bears get Sunday Night Football? I still do not know. This should have been.
Oh, that's true.
This game should be flexed. I'll just add it right here, right now. But no, Ivan made some very, very good points there. Trying to mark Tyreek Hill, it's so difficult. You can't mark him one-on-one. You need a safety over the top. To help out, and Denzel Ward, he's going to understand this firsthand. You only have to look what happened when the Chiefs played the Bucs first time round. The corner got completely and utterly burned by Tyreek Hill for like 200 yards and like 2 or 3 touchdowns, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And then in the Super Bowl, they adjusted. They still played the corner, they still played man coverage, but then they let the safety go over the top so he couldn't run off a different route.
And that safety now is John Johnson, right?
Exactly.
Carl,
if the Browns play a cover 3, which they're potentially expected to, you've got John Johnson sitting right in the middle as the free safety, who's an outstanding free safety, which means you've got people like Troy Hill that can move up to the nickel position and really cover any of that central slot, as well as good linebackers. Taki's going to hit anyone coming out. If I were the Browns, I'm putting Taki in front of someone like Travis Kelce, to slow him down, and then you got your safeties moving up. People like Ronnie Harrison moving up.
That's rule number 2 in this matchup. Do not give up the middle at any time of game, because that's where Travis Kelce is more than likely going to be. Yeah. He plays the same sort of routes as Mark Andrews does for the Ravens. He goes out to the middle, you dunk him off into the middle, and then he goes off for another 8-9 yards down the field. You cannot allow to open up the middle. Keep it outside of the numbers at all times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, slow him down. Bring your safeties up to intercept anything that's coming through, tackle him very early on. That's the way to deal with people like Travis Kelce. And the Browns again match up very well position player wise, because they're able to do so. People like Taki, people forget, as a run blocker, he got a high 80s grade in PFF last season. He was in the top 20 linebackers, for run blocking last season. He's good for that. That's what you want to bring on these players for.
Well, the Browns, this is a good test for them. It's early, like you said early on, that we're getting Kansas City the first game of the year. Now, obviously, there are some other things that people have been sharing out, especially Chiefs fans, that Andy Reid is undefeated against the Browns. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is undefeated in September. So all these can be broken, and this is a. Yes. So,
the Chiefs are a really tough. They're going to be a very tough team. There's no doubt. They've got to the Super Bowl the last 2 years. They've won their division for the last 5 years. They're a very good team. You don't do that unless you're a very good team. And the Browns are going to a stadium, Arrowhead, which is going to be packed full.
Well, I'm going to be
fans.
Yeah, I'll be yelling and screaming as much as I can for the Brownies, but I might be drowned out a little bit. I'm up in section 338 and row 15. So
that's brilliant. I'll be looking out for you on the screen. But what? The other thing the Browns do, the other thing the Browns could be good at again is the Chiefs secondary isn't great. You've got Matthew, who's still we don't know whether he's playing in the game. So you've got.
Isn't he in COVID protocol? Isn't Matthew?
Yeah, he's still on. The last I heard this morning was he's still not been cleared from that.
Okay,
which means they've got someone.
They've still got Sorensen.
See,
as
now,
the
I
strong-
have
They've
this-
still got Sorensen as the free safety.
Okay.
So
But they didn't grade well at all last season. Now they were well below average grades. You got someone like Najarius Sneed was their best cornerback last year for
Now-
and he was a rookie, so he's going into his second season. He's likely to get better. But my point there is you've got Odell Beckham. Here's the other two things which.
Well, and that's what I was going to go into was talking keys to victory. So we're going to kind of dive into that right where that's kind of what we're doing.
You got Odell Beckham Jr. who didn't play last year.
Right.
So he wasn't in that game, and then you got someone else like DPJ who got one snap last year in that game.
Yes.
Our key the players that we used most last year was Jarvis Landry, who got about 2.9 yards per carry.
Believe me, the folks at Dog Pound Daily, who I contributor to, we continually have a daily discussion of Jarvis Landry because half the crew just despises Landry and thinks that he's completely overrated. He had 7 catches last year for 20 yards in that game. And then the other half says, well, he's the heart of the team. So there's a lot of debate still about Jarvis.
Jarvis Landry is a safety valve type of receiver, someone that you can rely on. If say the likes of Odell Beckham Jr. is getting double covered, and you can easily let Landry get loose as the second wide receiver. And we go to you said something about Donovan Peoples-Jones. I mean, I'm a Michigan Wolverines fan, so I know Donovan Peoples-Jones.
You can't say that here.
Wolverines. You brought him on, John.
I live in Columbus, Ohio, man. We're Buckeyes.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm in the heart of Buckeye Nation here. Oh man, I don't know if we can have you on again, Carl.
I digress. But no, the one thing I spoke to Ivan about on my show previously, and that was Odell Beckham Jr. has come back now. Okay.
Yes.
Now, is he just going to have a different take on this season or the next few seasons? Is he just going to allow what he is given? So because he always keeps saying he wants the ball all 99% of the time, stats show that when Odell Beckham Jr. was playing, Baker Mayfield's passer rating was low. When he was out injured, his passer rating went up. So what I am saying is regarding Odell Beckham Jr. is don't keep demanding the ball. Take what you are given at the right time. If you get open, Baker will find you. If you're not open, he's going to go to someone else. Don't start kicking nets again like you did at the Giants, because that's just a bad look in itself.
Well, and maybe, Carl, the idea that he sat around since October and had watched this team progress without him being involved, maybe, and I've heard different things about Odell, and I know that he can be considered on the outside somewhat selfish, but I also hear other people that know him more personally that say that he's not that way. So maybe the fact that he saw this team have so much success will benefit him. And maybe, people can change. And considering the circumstances, the Browns went 11-5 without him. It seems like, they had their weekend off, and I don't know if you saw those photos, but Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, and Odell went out to Yellowstone National Park here and hung out for the weekend, which I thought was a very unique place to go. By the way, my parents are in Yellowstone right now. They took a train across the country. They're 80-year-old plus, and they're hanging out with all their senior citizens up there in Yellowstone this week too. So I don't think they ran into Baker, but
Fantastic.
What do you? So you think? Carl, do you think? With OBJ, what do you think it's gonna? How do you think this will turn out, in your opinion, just long term? Do you think it's a good fit in Cleveland?
I think it is a good fit in Cleveland. That's as if he tones down his. I always look at him as an Antonio Brown type of receiver. He is very, very talented, but he does have a sliver of a diva about him. But as I said, if he just allows the game to come to him rather than try and force it, then he's going to be a huge, huge asset. And defenses across the whole NFL landscape are going to look at those. crap, right, Odo Beckham Jr. is playing well, Jarvis Landry to cover, Austin Hooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Right.
You know, you're gonna have all these. You're gonna have all these dogs. Pardon the pun here. You're gonna have all these dogs to try and guard here. So at some point, you are just gonna have to let Odo Beckham Jr. go one-on-one at some point, because it's like we can't just cover double coverage all the time. We're getting burned.
Yeah, Ivan, did you want to?
Yeah, my point with those two wide receivers is that Landry got the biggest snaps when we played the Chiefs last season in January. And got very few yards. We know he doesn't have the pace. That's not what he should be. What Carl said as well.
Right.
He's not our number one wide receiver. What we've got is Odell Beckham Jr. coming back. He's got the pace. We've got to stretch the field. What the Chiefs were doing in that game, rightly so, was bringing all their defenders up to the box.
Yeah.
Because they knew the Browns, that's the only area the Browns were going to hit. You know, so with OBJ and DPJ in the game, that stretches the field.
Yeah.
So then our 10s come into play. Landry can come into play. You know, we've got Janovich, for instance, who had a great preseason. You know, he might well be used. He's a very dangerous player in that box area, so he can create the space in that box area by stretching the field. You bring him into play. Those two players are also very crucial. And the other thing I noticed at the end of last season, in particular, I think it was the Steelers game. I can't remember now. It might have been the end of the regular season. But Baker started hitting those last, 5-6 yard runs to get the first downs.
Yes.
And no one was ever doing that. See, the Browns weren't doing that. So they knew when we were going on to third or fourth down that Baker wasn't going to run the ball. So
that's a good point.
Baker starts to run the ball. So now they're having to worry about Baker running the ball, to get that first down. So the Browns have got lots of different options this year.
Yes.
They're going into their second season, their first season ever, as with all the same coaches, all the same offensive players back in the system. For the last 11 games, PFF had Baker down as number 2 quarterback in the entire quarterback stable. So if he carries that on this season, we have a lot to look forward to. And I think he's got the confidence. He's in a contract year coming up.
Yep.
We have a lot to look forward to. The Chiefs with a very average defense have got a lot to worry about with a very good Browns offense.
One of the
we've got a lot to worry about the Chiefs offense.
Yes.
They've got a lot to worry about our offense as well.
I am coming out with an article tomorrow on Dog Pound Daily where I predict that Nick Chubb, 3 reasons that Nick Chubb is going to win the game against the Chiefs or by himself, or could by himself. In the article, and I hope you can check that out tomorrow. The idea that, I was surprised, and maybe some of you were too, during that game. The Browns ran the ball 6 times in the first half. Now, they only had 3 possessions all in that first half. 5 of those 6 runs were in the first possession. And of those 5 runs, 2 of them, one of them was Baker running it to the right or the left off of, it was a set quarterback sneak for about 5 yards. The other one was a sweep to Jarvis Landry. And I think the other 3 runs were by Chubb. Chubb ended up running the ball 13 times, some 60 yards, I think, for the game. It was not his best moment. I mean, he got caught behind the line a couple times. He dropped a couple screen passes. And if I'm a predictor and if Nick Chubb, I love Nick Chubb. He's my favorite player. I believe he's the heart of the team. And if Stefanski, the Browns coach, I do agree with you, Ivan, too, that I think he'll try to throw it up a little bit. But I also think they're going to give Chubb at least some opportunities more in the first half. And Kareem Hunt, who we haven't even touched on, who was the former team he used to play for the Chiefs, and he didn't touch the ball in the first half last game. Believe me, he's going to touch the ball in the first half this game. If Stefanski does not give Hunt the ball or Chubb more in the first half, I'll be throwing things at the TV. Even though it was 16-3 most of that first half, I was really surprised. You go back and look at it on replay. They just went away from the run, and they did, didn't they? They seem to get worried about
Mahomes, who was carving us apart in that first half. You know, they seem to be worried about did what the Ravens usually do. If they go behind, they stop running the ball, and that's what the Browns did. They went behind. They seemed to panic a bit. They stopped running the ball. You know, and running the ball is one of our bread and butters. We got one of the best run attack offenses in the league. So
I'm so excited about it. Yeah. Carl, do you think that they are like the best? I mean, you follow the NFL just in general more than, I mean, I'm a big diehard Browns fan like Ivan here, but do you think that the Browns running tandem of Chubb and Hunt are the best?
It's one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah.
No question, shadow of a doubt. It's one of the best in the NFL. Kareem Hunt just gives you that extra different dimension in the part when passing out of the backfield as well, but he can also ground and pound as well. I mean, you got two bulldozers there in the running game, and when you also have a top 3 offensive line like the Browns have currently, that's just a recipe which is just going to ooze confidence into everything else.
We haven't even touched on the offensive line, right?
You run the ball. You can't stop us. We'll run the ball some more.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No,
if we get ahead, we're definitely pounding that ball down their throats. You know.
See, but do you think that, like, if they get down, let's say, I think it's important that the Browns establish themselves early. I mean, I think it's vitally important the Browns get some type of lead early in this game. I also don't think, in the same tone, I don't think, people were talking in the last game in the playoff that, whoever was going to score more points, and the final score ended up being 22-17. And I get it that Mahomes went out in the second half. I get that. But I still don't think we're going to be scoring 45 points. I keep hearing people say, well, the Browns have got to outscore them in touchdowns. I'm like, that's not going to happen. I don't see it being 45-42. Maybe we're completely wrong, and maybe it's like that Baltimore game on that Monday night game a year ago when Baker and Lamar Jackson kept going back and forth, and there was fireworks. I was at that game. It was the best game I've ever seen in person. It was amazing. I mean, they just there was no defense. They were just kept throwing it. Kareem would pound down and rumble into the end zone, and then Lamar would throw a pass to, Marquise Brown. So I just don't see them scoring 45 points. But do you guys see that? Do you think it's going to be a high-scoring affair?
Well, go on, Ivan.
Oh yeah, Ivan.
It's got the potential to be a high-scoring affair because you've got, some great offensive players on both sides. So you never know what can happen. I mean, I don't think the Browns want to get into a shootout.
No,
I think like you, they want to manage that game early. They want to unsettle Mahomes by getting him, flushing him out. I mean, Mahomes likes to pull back anyway, but certainly flush him out, get a JOK blitz in him. Tank McKinley.
Aren't you excited to see? Are you excited to see JOK? I mean, man,
yeah, and that's what he's there for. He's there to blitz. He's there to blitz people like Mahomes.
That's a good point.
And that's what he's in there for. So I can see him picking up quite a few snaps in the very first game because he's going to be good at that. So they want to unsettle them, and if they can get ahead, they'll get the run game going, and it will be quite close, relatively low scoring game.
Okay.
But if the Chiefs get ahead like they did, then the Browns' only recourse is to start chucking it as well. So
I'm sorry, I'm having visions of Rashid Higgins, Hollywood Higgins going into the end zone and getting targeted, nailed in the helmet, and no one talked about it during the game. Like during that actual whole episode, neither of the commentators talked about that was targeting. Like they totally, like if you go back and look at that 1,000 times, I mean, he was totally blasted in the helmet and nothing was called.
Hit on the helmet. I mean, it's
heinous ref ball.
Carl, do you think that they're going to? It'll be a high-scoring affair on Sunday.
If I am a betting man, so if the if the over/under was 45.5, I would probably say take the over.
I've got somebody that can talk to you. I know that I've had a fun time. We've interviewed Joe from Joe Madden Sports. If you like betting, she's your person to be in touch with. So, all right, back to your observation. over 45, you think? So let me just
Yeah.
give you okay. So let's start with you, Carl. What do you think the final outcome of the game on Sunday is? Browns, Chiefs, who wins? Score? What do you feel is going to be happening?
Of all the games that we've got for this week, this one has the capability of the Browns causing. People say Browns causing an upset. I don't think this will be an upset. This is a trap. This is a trap game.
Okay.
And I personally think if the Browns get ahead, it will put the Chiefs under a little bit of restraint. But that's where the secondary that you've rebuilt has to stand up and say, right, we have to stop Tyreek Hill. We have to stop Cole Harbour. We have to stop Byron Pringle, and just let the linebackers cover off the middle. But I have said, I think because it's at Arrowhead Stadium, the loudest stadium in the NFL, the Chiefs will win this by a field goal. 30-27.
30-27. Carl, like I told some of you, I've said this before. I lived in Kansas for 25 years, and I've been to Arrowhead. I actually had season tickets. Don't tell Browns fans to Arrowhead only because I was a teacher by trade, and they were giving basically away season tickets to teachers because the Chiefs were lousy for years. And you could go to Arrowhead Stadium and it would only be like half full. So I spent many years during the 1990s, where that stadium, the early 2000s, they were a lousy team. And they had good teams also, but many years they were bad. So, but it is one of the most impressive crowds. I've been there a number of times where it's deafening. If you've been to Cleveland to a game, I mean, it's just as amazing. I mean, it's really tough. Ivan, what do you think Sunday?
Well, we're going into a stadium that is the heart of a team that, as I say, has been very, very successful. It's not going to be easy. Mahomes is a great quarterback, but for the reasons I've given, I do think the Browns can beat the Chiefs. I'm going to go the Browns do beat the Chiefs, but I'm going to go for something. I'm going to go the Browns going to get 28 points.
Okay.
And I think the Chiefs, we're going to hold the Chiefs to about 24. So I'm going to go 28-24 the Browns. And the other reason I think the Browns are going to do well is because of our coaching staff. They're able to adapt. They're able to adapt during the game, and they're able to even if they go down, they will scheme and they'll plan. They'll fight. They'll find out the weaknesses in the first half, and then they'll ram those weaknesses down the Chiefs' throats, and we're going to pull away and win the game in the second half. And I'm going 28-24 Browns.
Well, and I'm similar. I'm thinking something around 31-27 is kind of where I'm predicting the Browns. It'll be a great game. I'm going to be rooting as hell as much as I can, and hopefully bringing some good mojo to them. But so go Browns. Let's talk a little bit just real quick before I want to go through the rest of the season with you, Ivan, because you're a diehard Browns fan like I am. But I did want to touch base with Carl too. And other story headlines. I know we got the big game tonight with the Cowboys and Tampa Bay Bucks. Are there other games? I know you're Carl. You follow the NFL in general. What other contests are you going to be watching the game tonight? What are your assessments on the rest of the weekend?
Well, tonight, obviously, I'm going to watch the Buccaneers tear the Dallas Cowboys a brand new backside. So there's that one to look forward to. Obviously, my team face the Dolphins. That's going to be critical to see how good Mac Jones can play. Mm-hmm. And the game I'm really interested in, actually, and not many people think about this, is actually Jets at the Carolina Panthers. Sam Darnold's revenge game. Everyone has just completely glossed over that. I really want Sam Darnold just to throw 4 touchdowns and 400 yards on that defense and say, yeah, I was not the problem.
Right.
So,
yeah. That's very good. I did not, I'm such a big, I'm totally oblivious to the Jets, but no, it's a great, Sam Arnold talked about seeing ghosts. So we'll see if he sees any ghosts on Sunday. But no, I think that's going to – Carolina's a good team, and they're well coached.
They've improved. Yeah, they've improved. They've improved massively this offseason. Got a good amount of weapons. Run CMC returns as well. They also got a backup running back in Chuba Hubbard as well, who done well in preseason. So very interested to see how all that pans out.
What do you think with the Deshaun Watson situation in Houston? Do you think that Houston No, okay. I'm happy as a Browns fan because they're coming to Cleveland in week 2 for our home opener.
Can't wait.
Houston might as well put their fucking C team out because it's just going to be an absolute disaster. What do I say about the show?
Now this is a kid's show here, Carl.
Sorry,
I'm kidding. It's fine. Just wanted to give you a hard time. I know it's getting. I know it's getting late there.
He's a Patriots Wolverine fan. You just
that's right.
As hard a time as you like.
Now, let me ask you this, Carl, since we're talking about, okay, let's talk Patriots for a second because that is your favorite team. Do you feel like, are you more of a Tom Brady fan or a Bill Belichick? How do you fall on that? Do you think it was Bills or Tom Brady's, who had more of a factor with them having so much success? Just your general assessment.
I'm just gonna give you a Bill Belichick answer. Next question.
Fair enough.
Everyone has asked me that question, and I absolutely loathe it. I loathe it. Choosing who is better between Brady and Belichick is like choosing between shirts.
It's Tom Brady.
It's pointless. It's pointless.
So is Tom Brady going to play till he's like 50? What do you think?
Well, I think it was who's the owner of Amazon? Is it Bezos or whoever his name is? He's trying to invent how to make himself look younger. Well, Brady's just doing that by playing football. So
that's right. That's right.
There's your cure.
That's very good. All right, Ivan. I've got the season schedule in front of me, and maybe you have it in front of you. And Carl, Carl, if you want to participate too, we can mark it down here.
This on Carl's show.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
you done it? All right.
I'm sure I can find my one on my laptop.
Well, I've already changed one of my predictions, so.
All right.
Oh dear.
So we're gonna open up with Kansas City. So you and I both have wins. Carl has a loss.
Yeah.
The Brownies in their home opener are playing the Texans. So I'm predicting a win.
Yeah, it's a dub.
Dub for both of you guys. Okay. Next week, the third week, they've got the young and upcoming Ohio former Buckeye Justin Fields, who might be playing at that point, playing the Bears coming to Cleveland. I'm predicting a win for the Brownies.
Yep.
But I just think Justin Fields, I think he could come in by week 2 if Andy Dalton gets totally wrecked by Aaron Donald. That's the bit I'm more interested in. If Andy Dalton's in there, you're going to win all day long. Justin Fields is an unknown commodity. So
he looked good in preseason, but it is preseason. As we Browns fans know, Ivan, the Browns can look really good in preseason like they did back in 2017 when they had a young quarterback from Notre Dame who went undefeated 4-0, and then they went 0-16.
Which is why I can't wait to see the Steelers game against the Bills, because their offensive line supposedly was looking good this preseason. Well, we'll see how good it is against a proper team.
Week 4, the Browns travel up to Kevin Stefanski's old hometown where he coached for many years, the Minnesota Vikings. I actually am predicting a loss here on the road. It's Minnesota. Okay.
I've got Browns win for that one.
I've got the Browns being the Vikings as well.
Okay. Very good. Now, the following week, the Browns travel all the way out to California, to San Diego. I'm still contemplating wanting to get an airline ticket and flying out there.
I love how the fact you keep saying San Diego when it's.
I did. Okay, did I say? Oh my gosh!
You said SD.
That's so funny. Oh, I knew, and before the show, I was like, no, I'm not going to say it, and I did. Oh my gosh! All right, the Chargers. So I have another loss for the Browns. I think they're going to go on the road, and I think they're going to continue to. I know the Chargers weren't very good last year, but I'm thinking the Browns are going to kind of hit a snag early on in the year, and I'd rather it be early. So I'm taking a loss. Ivan, what do you think?
Yeah, we don't travel well to the West Coast, do we? So I'm going to go with you on that one. I'm going for a loss against the Chargers.
Carl?
Yeah, I think that could be a possible loss. 2 back-to-back road games. You have to go all the way up to Minnesota and then go all the way out to the West Coast. Yeah, that's going to take a toll on the team. So
Okay.
yeah, you'll take a loss either against the Vikings or the Chargers in one of those games. So,
okay. On the next 3 games, I have been saying since the schedule came out, are really going to be important. The Browns have got 3 home games in a row. They have a home game against the Cardinals, a home game against the Broncos, and a Thursday night game. So it's going to be a short week. Then they get a longer week, and then they have the Steelers coming to town for the first time. So I'm predicting a 3-game win streak there. A wins against the Cardinals. I think they're going to beat Denver. It'll be Thursday night football, and they're going to beat the Steelers because now we have the Steelers. We control the Steelers mentality. What do you guys think on those next 3?
Well,
we're kind of like Darth Vader on the Steelers right now. Like we're gonna since we annihilated them, we're just gonna show that they have this power over them.
Absolutely, there's no mercy to the Steelers.
Yeah,
we're doing the double over.
You told us. Yeah, those 30 years you've been beating the living crap out of us. Yeah, it's about time you return the favor.
What do you guys? Do you think? What do you see there, Ivan?
Yeah, I mean it's a tough run of games, isn't it? So I'm going to go because when I was on Carl's show, I actually predicted the Chiefs were going to beat the Browns. So I've got to make that loss up somewhere.
Okay.
So I'm going to go. I think we're going to beat the Cardinals.
Okay.
At home. You know what? Those wretched horse people. That's where I'm. That's where I'm going to make up for the loss because I predicted we were going to beat them on Carl's show.
Yeah.
So I'm now going to go back in order to get my 12-5 record.
Okay.
I'm going to go. The Broncos are going to beat us because they always seem to.
That's going to be one of those games that we're not completely focused on. It's a short week.
Yeah. So I'm going to go loss to Broncos, but we are going to mush those Steelers. We're going to actually trounce them. So it's a win against the Steelers.
Carl, what do you think about those next 3?
They'll beat the Cardinals. I actually do agree with Ivan. Actually, I think you will take a loss to Denver. Denver's defense is back up to scratch. Bradley Chubb's returned. Von Miller's returned. They got a new corner in Kyle Fuller, who's outstanding, and they got a stud of a corner they took in the draft in Patrick Surtain, the second out of Alabama.
Oh, yes.
So that secondary is now, and with Simmons as well, that secondary is going to be stacked. That defense in Denver alone over the years has always been its bread and butter.
Okay.
So it's just going to be a case of how well Teddy Bridgewater is serviceable to the receivers.
Next game's on wait. We're going on the road to play Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, will he be there? Will he not? I still think the Browns will win that game. What do you think, Ivan?
Browns win. By this point in the year, the Bengals have had too many injuries and they're easily beatable. So
Carl?
Browns win that one.
Yeah, the Bengals are going to bungle it.
Okay. The next week, the Brownies travel to Bill Belichick land to face the New England Patriots, your team. I actually am predicting a loss for the Brownies because Bill Belichick is Darth Vader against the Browns and will have some sort of power over them. So I'm giving the New England Patriots the win, the Browns the loss that week. The last time we went to New England several years ago, I mean, I know it's a different coaching staff, but there's something about New England, even without Tom Brady there. But so I'm taking the Browns in a loss. What do you guys think?
Yeah, never trust Boston. And, unfortunately, I think the Patriots are going to win this one.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, it'd be great to say it, but
before training camp and preseason started, when the schedule come out, I thought, yeah, that's a straightforward loss to the Browns because they're just a better team. After what I've seen though for training camp and preseason, with everyone that we signed and everyone that has performed, I actually now think this is a 50-50 game.
Okay.
This game could go either way.
Okay.
But I believe that is one game that we could turn that loss into a W, and that could kick Miami out of the playoff run.
All right. The Brownies then go back home and they play the Detroit Lions. Prior to Thanksgiving, there were a lot of Cleveland Browns fans hoping that the Browns would be playing the Lions on Thanksgiving. They're not. They're playing them the Sunday before Thanksgiving. I'm predicting a win. Though I do like the Lions. I don't know, Ivan, if you know, I have followed another podcast over the years, and it was they had a guy by the name of Bruce Hooley and Chris Spielman, the former Ohio State Buckeye who played briefly with the Browns and the Detroit Lions. He's now like the second guy in charge in Detroit, and I love the guy. I think he's a mastermind with football and players. I think the Lions will be better, but I think the Browns get the win.
I think the Browns get the win, and like you, it's the Lake Erie Brotherhood, you know. So
yes.
If the Browns aren't doing well, I'm hoping the Lions and the Bills do. But
yes.
We're playing them. We're going to beat them.
Okay, no Carl, what do you think? Browns, Lions.
Lions. That's a dub.
Okay, next week. Here's another interesting stretch. A lot of folks have talked about Baltimore, a bye, and then Baltimore. So they have Baltimore at Baltimore. They have the bye, and the Browns come back and play Baltimore again. Now, in between on that bye, Baltimore plays the Steelers. So I have the Browns losing the game at Baltimore, winning the game at home. Your thoughts, guys? Ivan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with you on that one, but the Ravens are getting so many injuries in the preseason that, you know, if that continues, it's almost like the 49ers last season.
Who did you just say before the podcast started, Ivan or Carl? Can you share?
Well,
it was Gus Edwards. He's torn his apparently, according to Ian Rappaport, he tore his ACL. So now not only is J.K. Dobbins out with a torn ACL, you've now got bloody Gus the Bus Edwards out with a torn ACL. What the hell's going on?
And their then third running back, he's gone. Plus, Marcus Peters has picked up an injury. I don't know the extent of that yet, but he could be out for a while.
That's their best corner.
One of the best cornerbacks in the entire NFL. So, you know, if this injury luck or bad luck is going to continue, you never know. It could be 2 wins. But for the moment, I'm going to go for a loss away to Baltimore and a win at home.
Okay. What do you think, Carl? Same thing?
Yeah, same thing. We need to look further into the season to see how really injury ravaged the Ravens are.
Okay.
Because they still have the number 1 running back in Lamar Jackson. So I don't know. Yeah, I will. Yep. Let's just say hypothetically, I would say you'll lose to the Ravens on the road, but then you'll return the favor at home in week 14 against them.
So now you get into the end of the season, and we don't really know how it's going to play out, but the next game is a home game. Now, a year ago, the Browns played the same team, home game late in the season. The Oakland, where are they at now? No, Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Raiders, the Raiders. Not Oakland, not San Diego. Okay, they're the Las Vegas Raiders. I have a friend of mine, the Shakeback podcast media group. Willie is a huge Raiders fan. He's coming out here to watch the Browns play the Raiders. But I'm predicting the Browns will going to win this one to get revenge on what happened a year ago, and the Browns just simply didn't play very well. What are your thoughts on the Raiders game, Ivan?
Well, the Browns are going to beat the Raiders. We were robbed. The referees, officials robbed us of one victory against them. They're not going to do it again. So we're not traveling to the West Coast this time. So, they're coming to us.
Okay.
We're going to win. I've got every confidence the Raiders will lose that game.
Carl, what do you think?
Raiders would have been out of the playoffs and they would have fired John Gruden by the time the Browns play him. So, you get the win over them,
My most exciting game, well, there's so many exciting games, but Christmas Day here in the Browns and Green Bay up at Lambeau Field.
Cracking game.
Now, I'm predicting a loss for the Brownies.
Both teams know how to play in the snow.
Yeah.
A win or a loss, what do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to, by that point, who knows with injuries, etc. But on paper, going to Lambeau Field, it's going to be tough. You have to put a loss to the Browns for that one, just because.
Yeah. And Aaron, yeah. What do you think, Carl?
Aaron Rodgers is a bad man, and he's doing his own version of Michael Jordan's The Last Dance right now, knowing he has to win the Super Bowl or it's completely gone to pot.
Now,
but for this particular game, I probably have the Packers winning this game.
In the States here, we have the State Farm commercials with Aaron Rodgers. Baker Mayfield does the Progressive Insurance commercials.
I love that.
Those are just the best commercials ever right now.
So is this the Progressive State Farm Bowl then?
Right. I think it's really the best part too is now they've included like some of the other Browns players, like Baker's wife in the Progressive commercials.
Yeah. That's good. Chubb's got his own breakfast cereal.
That's right. And everybody discovered that Chubb likes Chipotle sandwiches now. So, all right, last 2 games of the season, we got a home game against the Steelers. No, I got that backwards. I think it was a away game against the Steelers, and then a home game against the Bungles. I'm predicting 2 wins there at the end of the season. What about you guys?
Definitely. Easy wins.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
So according to my projections for myself, I ended up going 11. I'm going 11-6. Where do you guys end up? Where are you at there, Ivan?
I should be on about 12-5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think that they're going to win? Will they win the division?
Yes.
Well, I had the Browns down as winning the division. I had it down as very close between us and the Ravens, but as I say, the amount of Ravens injuries they're getting at this point, I'm now edging the Browns as stronger favourites in my mind. So
Ivan, I have a question for you offhand, just real. So, how long have you been a Browns fan? How long do you go back? How far do you go back?
I go back till 99 when they started.
Excellent.
They came back in the league. Up until that point, I was a bit of just an NFL. Just loved the NFL, really.
So why? Why the Browns?
Well, lots of reasons. I put it all down on my blog site. So,
yeah.
And I put it all in there about why I support the Browns.
Can you share out your blog site again? Can you share that out so people can hear what it is again?
Webnode.com, and on there, if you look at an article I wrote on there, it says why support the Browns, basically, and I put all the reasons there. But for me, it comes down to when the Browns want to be moved, when the owner wanted to move them to Baltimore,
right?
The fans stopped. Basically, the fans stopped that move, and they went through the courts and they said, no, you're not moving this team. That is such fanaticism and passion that there's no way in this world that I was not going to support a city that stopped a huge business like the NFL moving a franchise with the first time ever to another city. So they had my diehard loyalty from that moment on. And I will always be fanatical Browns because I just love that sort of loyalty. I don't care. I do care, but people used to try and wind me up about the Browns losing record for 20 years. It just dropped in an ocean to me. Because
have you been to Cleveland?
I don't support a team because of their winning record. I support a team because of who makes that team, and the Browns fans are the best.
Ivan, have you been to Cleveland?
No, I haven't, unfortunately, but it's on my list to get to.
It's on your bucket list.
As soon as I can retire.
Well, Ivan, you know, Carl, if any of you come back this way, I will make sure to find you, and we'll have a good time.
Meet up. Yeah, obviously, I still need to watch my team play first. But once that's in the books, then I could start. Traveling to see different teams. And I'm on my list already. And First Energy Stadium is definitely one of them. There's a particular female that I follow, who's part of the drum band outside First Energy Stadium.
Right.
and they do an amazing stuff. So yeah.
Well,
Philadelphia Stadium
I'm
is on my
Tampa
list.
Bay to see the Browns. I have been to America to see the Browns, but I went to Tampa Bay
okay.
to see the Browns. Yeah, where we lost narrowly, but that's the
That's
one
right.
where Baker was hitting the head when he was running the ball.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that was like his rookie year, right? Well, you guys are the best, and you bring a lot of great content. That's why I thought it would be a lot of fun to do a show with you. We'll have to do more in the future. Hopefully this season as we follow the progress of the NFL and the Browns, hopefully progressing toward a Super Bowl, right, Ivan?
Oh, the Browns are going to make the AFC Championship game. I think they're going to get the Bills in the championship game.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be a cracking game. I wouldn't like to predict who's going to win it, but I think it's going to be a Browns-Bills AFC Championship, so we could get to the Super Bowl.
Excellent. Well, Carl, any last thoughts before we depart? I'm just really, this has been a lot of fun. I love technology, man. We can be talking. You're over there in England. We're here in Columbus, Ohio, and we had a little bit of a technical glitch, but we managed through, and it's fascinating. Carl, any final thoughts before we let you go watch your Tampa Bay Buccaneers crush the Cowboys?
All I'll say is this: I think the Browns' Super Bowl window is well and truly open, probably for the next 2 or 3 seasons. I think divisional round, is your minimum requirement. Divisional round and win your division is your minimum requirement for this season.
Okay.
But I have every faith that the Browns can go even further, maybe even to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Because you have the team to do it. It's just a case of, it's just the finer points. If you could do the little details, it'll go a long way in the playoffs. So good luck to the Cleveland Browns this season.
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate that support, even though you're not well, I'm sorry. You're more of a New England Patriot fan. You're not, right? That's your team.
Yes.
And
we can forgive him that, Just
I know.
Since he's been nice to the Browns, we'll forgive him that one.
It's great to have you on the show again. Let's do this again soon.
Yeah,
and
thank you very much for having us on, John. Really appreciate it. Loved every second.
Follow my content. I write for the Dog Pound Daily and King James Gospel, and also ClevelandSportsTalk.com. So check out those articles. Just did 96 days down. We're down to 3 days today, and I'll be doing a reflection piece on that. Probably on Cleveland Sports Talk. So follow those and follow the show here on the Clee Effect show. We're excited to be providing you this fun entertainment, a little cross of life and sports for us hardy Cleveland faithful. So guys, thanks again. Have a great night. Stay on after I end our show here, guys. But to those of you who are listening or watching, thanks again for following the Clee Effect show. Everybody take care. And I always end the show with a keep smiling.